What's up guys? Today we're going to install ClearVU on this Honda Odyssey. This is a 2018, but be sure to check the description in the video to see what year range this particular installation is compatible with. That being said, we'll go into the tools we're going to use. So we have a drill, a Phillips head, a 8mm socket, a step drill, a punch, a pick, a Sharpie, a plastic pry tool, and these side cutters. So that's all the tools you're going to need for this installation. And then this is the kit you're going to get. It's going to have the vehicle specific template. It's going to have the hose, the epoxy, and all the prep tools that you need for the epoxy, as well as the check valve, the T-fitting, and anything that I missed. So let's get into it. We'll go through all the steps that you need to install ClearVU on this Honda, and if you have any questions, leave a comment or contact us on our website. All right, so the first step is going to be to remove this panel, this plastic panel. Get yourself a plastic pry tool. Okay, there you go. Set those aside. You can see right here, this is the OEM wiper fluid line that we're gonna cut into or tap into with the T-fitting. But we'll do that later. Right now, we're gonna continue to remove this panel. First, pop out this handle. Use your plastic pry tool once again. Disconnect the electrical connector right here. There's a tab you have to push down right in the middle. There you go. So right here, there's these plastic fasteners that you have to pop out. Okay, so there's a cap, and then that's the fastener. There you go. A pro tip is to be swift with these. If you just pull on them, something's probably going to break. You got to really yank it. So set that aside. So now that you've removed those plastic panels, you can remove this silver trim piece. So there's 3 8mm nuts that look like that you have access to right here. And then the rest of it is held in with plastic clips. So these are especially difficult to remove. If you're able to pry up on this and squeeze these plastic tabs together, it helps remove it. So we got one more over here. All right, so it was kind of hard to tell, but I was basically prying up on this and then pushing these tabs inward from the inside. It's kind of hard to reach, but you could use a screwdriver or pliers or something like that. So now we're going to disconnect these wires that go to the camera and the button. So pop the camera out. It's held in with these two tabs on the side. And then we can disconnect it. So now we're going to attach the spray nozzle to the camera and let that epoxy cure, and then use the template to drill the hole for the hose. The next step is to attach the spray nozzle. Your kit probably came with 2 of them. You see they're mirrored. We're going to use this one here, and we attach it with an epoxy. So first we're going to prep the surface of everything that's going to get epoxy, which is going to be the spray nozzle we're using, as well as this shim. If your kit came with multiple shims, this is going to be the one that is just a plain rectangle. It doesn't have a curve or an angle to it at all. And to prep the surface, we're going to use sandpaper to scuff up the plastic on the bottom of the camera, on this surface of the sprayer, and both sides of this shim. All right, next step, open up the alcohol wipe. Clean all the surfaces that you just used sandpaper on, and then we're going to want this alcohol to evaporate completely. before we apply the epoxy. And while we wait for that to evaporate, we're going to cut open the epoxy and start mixing it up. So you see there's two parts. You're going to push all of it to one side and then cut it open. And even though you don't need all of the epoxy that's in the packet, make sure you empty it out completely because it has to be a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. And you can find somewhere to mix up your epoxy or just use the installation card that came in your kit. Now just mix it up thoroughly. Then we're going to apply some to the shim first. And then we're going to put that on the camera. Make sure to center it as best as possible. And then we're going to put some on the sprayer. Make sure you don't get any inside the orifice at the top there, because that'll clog it. And then put the sprayer on top of the shim. And then you're going to want to let this sit and let the epoxy cure. So one thing you can do is don't throw out this epoxy that you mixed it up, because you can use that as an indication of how good it's set, instead of pulling on the spray nozzle. If it doesn't set completely and you pull it off, then you can't put it back on. But if you just keep this around, you can kind of tell how well it's set. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and route the hose, tapping into the OEM wiper fluid system and running it down to where the camera and the sprayer is going to be.
Rolling here.
All right, so next we are going to tap into the OEM wiper fluid line. So we'll simply find a good spot. I mean, we don't even really have to cut it. We could just pull this straight fitting out, and then you get a free T-fitting. All right, so we take out that straight fitting and install the T-fitting. And then hook up the hose that came in your kit. And this is going to run down here like this, and you're going to want to zip tie it and make sure it's not in the way of anywhere those plastic clips go to hold in that panel. So I usually do this. Snake it around there like that. Put one zip tie right here. There should be two in your kit. So then we're going to run this hose over here, and ultimately it's going to pop out of the same grommet that the wires go for the liftgate button and the camera. We're going to cut just a little slit in this rubber boot. Make sure you don't cut the wires on the other side of it. Just like that. And then we'll put the hose through. It's got to go in this way. You can put the hose and the wires back through. Do the wire connectors first, and then the hose. And then seat the grommet back in there so it has a good seal. So now you can use the template to drill the hole in this. Okay, so next you're going to take your template. It's in your kit. If you received a bunch of them in your kit, it's number 57. So we're going to position it like this, so you're lining one edge up with the bottom here and one edge with this feature. It's not super critical, but obviously you don't want to overdo it. Make a mark So the final hole size for this is 5/16. It'll be just big enough to fit the hose, but it's still snug, so it's a weatherproof seal. All right, now we are going to pull the hose through the hole we just drilled, and then put the camera wires down through where the camera goes, because you have to plug the camera in before you clip it into there. Otherwise you have no room to get to this plug. The connector for the button, the liftgate button, you tuck that wire in there and install this trim piece. Now you got your hose out of the way. We're just gonna push this back on, push all those clips in. Now you can put your 8mm nuts back on here. That holds that trim piece in place. And now that you've done that, you can line this up to how long you need it to hook up to the sprayer, cut it, and attach it to the spray nozzle here. So this is your check valve. You're gonna want to install this in line as close to the sprayer as possible. So we're gonna put it up here where the hose goes out of the lift gate, and then just cut the hose and install the check valve. So before hooking up the hose to the spray nozzle, make sure the epoxy sits and cures for 45 minutes in at least 60-degree temperature. So now we can put everything back on. So we'll start with the large plastic panel. Now that you have those two plastic clips back in, we can reinstall this. So now you can test out the sprayer and you are done. Thanks for watching this tutorial video for ClearVU. If you have any questions, reach out to us on our website or leave a comment in the video. Thanks again.